Alright, Mont. Today's work, you're going to do linear equations and this standard form. Linear equation, you got to meet the criteria. You can have no exponents bigger than 1. Circle that. That's the first thing. So like this guy right here. That is an exponent of 2. So that's not going to be linear. Second, you cannot have anything under a radical. That's square roots. If you have a variable underneath the square root, that's not going to be linear. Right here, this one. The third one, you can never have a variable in the denominator. So you can never divide by x. If you ever have x on the bottom of a fraction, you're in trouble. And the last one, you can never times 2 letters together. So that's this guy right here. You have an x times a y, that's bad news. So your linear equations, on the left, here they are. X equals -4, 2y equals 4x plus 1, so on and so forth. They're pretty easy. We're going to spend our time here, and then we're going to go to these guys. These guys are kind of tough. Linear is easy because this, write it down, it is predictable. It changes at the same rate. It changes at the same rate. So Joey, here's what I mean by that. You guys go back to your calculator. In your y equals, let's clear off whatever you got in there, clear it off. And let's all type a linear equation. Okay, in y1, everybody type 2x plus 1. So there's a nice linear equation. Here's what I mean by it's predictable. Go to your table. Go second, graph. Everybody's looking at the table. So in 2-1 we taught you x is input, y is output. 0 becomes a 1. When x is 1, y is a 3. When x is a 2. So if you're going to guess what x is 7, what's y going to be? How did you guess 15? Why 15? How much are these guys changing each time? It's just going up 2. So that's what I mean by predictable. It goes up 2, up 2, up 2, up 2. It changes at the same rate. It's not going to go up 2, then up 10 the next time, then up 20. So that's the nicest feature about a linear equation. Okay, let's skip these next 2 slides. Let's go right here. Let's go right into standard form. Standard form of an equation is this form. ax plus by equals c. Okay, write this down. A, b are called coefficients. You remember that word? Coefficients, they're the number in front of a letter. Joey, put it down. You got to write this. Whatever I write, you write. A and B are coefficients. C is a number all by itself with no variable, with no letter. That's called a constant. So let's practice. All you're going to do is manipulate. You're going to take number 1. Y equals -2x plus 3. That is an equation, a linear equation. They want it written in standard form. Standard form, x and y are on the same side. So what is wrong with number 1? So let's get them on the same side. What are you going to do? Let's move these x's over. Let's add 2x on the left. Let's add 2x on the right. And they want it alphabetical. They want your x's first. So it's going to be 2x's plus a y equals 3. Does that look like our standard form? X plus y equals c. X plus y equals c. Okay, it looks good. Now here's the criteria for standard form. Circle this. A has to be positive. A's got to be positive. And this one. A, B, and C have to be integers. That means no decimals, no fractions. A's got to be positive. And the very last thing, A, B, and C have got to have a greatest common factor of 1. So there's 3 criteria. So look at this number 1 right now. Can you figure out what is A, what is B, and what is C? Which one of those is A? A is the coefficient of x. So it's the number in front of x. What's in front of x? A is 2. B is the coefficient of y. So what number is touching y? 1. And C is the constant. It is the number all by itself with no variables. So C is, alright, there we go. Now A, B, and C, are they integers? Is A positive? Do they have any common factor other than 1? Can you divide them all by 2? Divide them all by 3? Okay, you're done. That's it. So standard form is this. And then they want you to identify your A, B, and C. Look at this guy right here. 3x minus 6y minus 9 is 0. There's your equation. What does that equation look like in standard form? What are you going to move? Okay, this right here needs to be moved to your other side. So you add 9 on the left, add 9 on the right. Now you got this. 3x minus 6y equals 9. Okay, what is your A, B, and C? What's A? A is the coefficient, the number touching x. So 3, what's B? Yes, don't forget the negative. And C is, okay, is A positive? Are they all integers? We don't have any decimals or fractions. Do they have a common factor? Can you divide these by something? You can divide the A, B, and C by what? You can divide them all by 3. That's just like this. If you give me an answer of 4/8, we teach you that that's unacceptable. 4/8 is better if you give it to me in simplified, which is what? 1/2. Is that the same thing? But we want this. We want 1/2. We don't want you to give us 4/8. That's the same thing we're doing here. So they want you to simplify this. So how can you simplify this? If you divide them all by 3. So divide this whole thing by 3. So what's 3x's divided by 3? That's 1x. What's a negative 6y's divided by 3? Negative 2y's. And what's 9 divided by 3? So now what is your A, B, and C? A is 1. B is negative 2. C is 3. So this is what we want. Even though they're the same thing, we want the simplified version. So if you can divide them all by something, do it. Okay, let's do number 4. And then we're going to call it good. So let's skip 3. Number 4 we're going to do because it has a fraction. So we'll show you how to get rid of these fractions. Alright, number 4. You need to get your x and your y on the same side. So what do you want to move? Let's move the y's over. Okay, if you move these y's over, you're going to minus 3y on the left, minus 3y on the right. So it's going to leave you with this. Negative 3/5 x. Put your x first. Minus 3y equals a negative 2. Okay, now, first of all, your A. What is your A? And your A's got to be positive. So how are we going to remedy that? Right now my A is negative. So how are we going to fix that? You times each piece by a negative 1. Or you can just do this. Can I just change this to a positive? If what? It's legal if you change everything. So I'm going to change this to a positive. And I'm going to change this to What if it was already positive? I would change it to what? Okay. If it's already positive, you change it to negative. Now, do I have integers? Do I have any fractions or decimals? Cannot have fractions or decimals, so we're in trouble. What is your denominator? 5. So here's the easiest way to get rid of a fraction. You just times it by the denominator. If your denominator is 5, you're going to times it by 5. And it's only legal if you times each piece by 5, each term. Because look at your fractions. 5 times 3/5. If you make 5 a fraction, it's 5 over 1. And if you've got a 5 on top and a 5 on bottom, they cancel. So to get rid of a fraction, you just times by the denominator. So now you're going to have 3x plus, what's 3y's times 5? 15y's equals, what's 2 times 5? 10. So you're going to have to manipulate, but it's really not that bad. Now give me your A, B, and C. What's A? A is the number touching X. It's 3. B, 15. What's C? 10. Alright. Wow, what's our time?